And Thoth said, List ye, O man, take of my wisdom, learn of his deep hidden mysteries of space. He says the deep hidden mysteries of space. He's talking about the ether of space-time itself, this soup that we're living in. Learn of the thought that grew in the abyss, bringing order and harmony in space. He's talking about the thought. Thoth. The word thought comes from the name Thoth. That's how we originated the name. But what he's talking about, thought that grew in the abyss, talking about out of nothing came a thought. What is the first Hermetic principle? All is mind. That is the very first Hermetic principle. And so since all is mind, we're seeing here how the principles laid out many thousands of years later still fall back to the original, which is 36,000 years old. Know ye, O man, that all exists as being only because of the law. Know ye the law, and ye shall be free. Never be bound by the fetters of night. What he's saying here is once you understand this law, once you understand this universal law that all is mind, that mind transcends space and time, that mind then also goes out and sets out to create, it will set you free. You ever heard of a person that's talking about being imprisoned, right? And they've endured many, many years of imprisonment, and some of them become enlightened, and you ask them, how did you do the time? They say their mind was never in prison because the mind can travel, right? Look at remote viewers. I did a whole workshop on remote viewing. It's on Forbidden Knowledge TV. If you look at remote viewers, what do you see? You see that we're able to set our mind outside of space and time and gather intel on targets and locations. Why is that? Because the mind can transcend space and time. So what he's saying here is, know ye the law, and ye shall be free. Your mind shall be free. They can lock up the body, but they can never lock up the mind unless you give them authority to. Never be bound by the fetters of night. Never be locked up by darkness. Far through strange spaces have I journeyed into the depth of the abyss of time. This man's talking about time travel 36,000 years ago. He says, far through the strange spaces I have journeyed into the depth of the abyss of time, until in the end, all was revealed. So he went back, probably and forward in time, looking and learning along the way. Know ye that mystery is only a mystery when it is knowledge unknown to man. Listen to that. Mystery is only a mystery when it is knowledge unknown to man. So it's only a mystery because you don't know about it, right? Anything that you don't know about is a mystery to you. We have to learn about it. It's a mystery to most people. How does a cell phone work? It's a mystery because they've never looked into it. They never studied it. They have no knowledge of how a cell phone actually works. It just magically lights up and they can hear somebody on the other end. They don't really understand how it works. It's like a mystery. Until you study the science behind how it works and the technology behind how it works, then it becomes no mystery anymore because you have gained the knowledge. When you have plumbed the heart of all mystery, knowledge and wisdom will surely be thine. In other words, he's saying here, when you have studied the depth of information, of knowledge against something that's a mystery to you, then it won't be a mystery to you anymore. You'll be wise. And this is a message to us for many things we can apply to in our lives. In other words, let's stop guessing and being ignorant to things that we should have knowledge of. Things are holding us back in life. Things are keeping us locked down. There's situations that are being withheld from us, blessings that we're actually not getting access to, simply because we won't put the energy into gaining the wisdom and knowledge to set ourselves free from the lack of knowledge, which is called ignorance. Seek ye and learn that time is the secret whereby ye may be free of this space. He's saying once you have the knowledge of time and how it works, and how to send your mind through time, you'll be free of this space. In other words, the space that you're in, not space in the stars, but the space that you're occupying at this moment in time. So I add some conjecture to this. Thoth is telling us again what the sages of old have been saying for eons. Time does not exist. Clocks exist. When your scientists figure this out, they will rediscover what the ancients already knew. According to the theory of special relativity, it explains how there is a difference of time that elapses between two events as measured by observers. For example, if one person moves faster than another person, then the first person will experience time at a slower rate. And the clock, the faster the person is carrying, will tick slower than the clock the second person is carrying. With this understanding, it is not so difficult to accept the fact that the arrow of time is an illusion. If you lived in the fourth dimension or higher, you would be able to see the past, present, and future all at once. In general relativity, clocks that are near the stronger gravitational field of a planet run slower. This is an actual scientific fact. When I went to Egypt, I took them to the Great Pyramid at Giza, 2 million blocks of stone. Every single one of us, as we approached the Great Pyramid, time began to slow down for us. It's called time dilation. Why? Because those 2 million blocks of stone have so much mass that it creates a time dilation bubble around us. And so, as a person that's standing directly next to the Great Pyramid is experiencing time microns slower than the person that is 100 miles away from the Great Pyramid or closer to less mass. And so we know this. So time is bendable, time is malleable. It's not a straight arrow, right? A straight arrow of time is actually an illusion. And we know that these time dilation bubbles exist. And if you get into an airplane and fly from here to California, I'm in Florida, fly from Florida to California, and I'm standing on the ground, because of relativity, you're actually going to become Planck units of age younger than me, as I'm standing on the ground experiencing time at a much higher rate. And because you're moving in a plane that's moving at 450 miles an hour or 500 miles an hour, you're experiencing time at a slightly slower rate. So we know that time travel into the future is 1,000% possible because we do it every single day. Anybody that's moving away at a speed from a person that's standing in a still location, that will create a time travel experiment. We know, for example, anyone who's ever gotten on a rocket is now slightly younger than the people that stayed on Earth. All right? If you were to travel away from Earth at the speed of light for 1 light year and come right back another light year, that's 2 light years, 1 light year up, 1 light year back, the people on Earth would have aged probably 20 years. So we know that time traveling to the future and staying on the same exact timeline is perfectly normal. It only seems that the timeline changes when you go backwards in time. Time traveling backwards in time leads you to an alternative timeline, which is why you can go back in time and bump into yourself. You also have the grandfather paradox, where if you go back in time and kill your grandfather, well, how in the world were you able to go back in time? Because you should have never been born. But this can only be done because once you go back in time, you slip into an alternative timeline. In other words, in the multiverse, there is a sea of universes. And going back in time transfers you in some unexplainable way into an alternative timeline. Okay? Let me get back to Thoth. Thoth says, "Long have I, the God of wisdom, sought wisdom, and shall seek eternity's end. For know that ever before me receding shall move the goal I seek to attain. Even the lords of the cycles know that not yet have they reached the goal. For with all their wisdom, they know that truth ever grows." He's talking about the fact that knowledge is a lifelong journey. Knowledge is not something, oh, I know this, I'm done, I'm good to go, I'm good. I got everything I need to know now, I'm good, I'm straight. No, that's not how it works. A true seeker of knowledge and wisdom knows that it's a lifetime, everlasting journey. You never stop seeking and learning and gaining wisdom and knowledge. The day that you do is the day that you start dying spiritually. He said, even the lords of the cycles know that not yet have they reached the goal. For with their own wisdom, they know that truth ever grows. There's more truth and more truth. And sometimes previous ideas or concepts or hypotheses can be overturned if you are a true truth seeker. If you really are truly seeking wisdom and understanding, over time, not all, but some of your concepts and ideas and perspectives will begin to evolve and change. It's not dogmatic. A truth seeker is not dogmatic in their belief system. Dogmatic belief is religion. Dogmatic belief is politics. Spiritual understanding and growth seeks attainment of adept initiate knowledge, nonstop. Once in a past time, I spoke to the dweller. He's talking about the dweller of Undal, which is really his father. Asked of the mystery of time and space. Asked him the question that surged in my being, saying, "O master, what is time?" Then he spoke to me, he the master. Know ye, O Thoth, in the beginning there was void and nothingness, a timeless, spaceless nothingness. And into the nothingness came a thought, purposeful, all-pervading, and it filled the void. There existed no matter, only force of movement, a vortex. We're talking about a torus energy field, or vibration. Vibration. What is a vibration? Cymatics. In the beginning was the word, and the word was what? Vibration, frequency, cymatics, sound. Of the purposeful thought that filled the void. A purposeful thought. When we look at the double slit experiment, and we see that when particles are shot, microscopic particles like electrons or photons are shot through a tiny little slit, when they hit the back wall of that experiment, they create a wave pattern until we put an eyeball down there, a little looking glass or a camera to see what's going on. Then the electrons convert from becoming a wave into a particle and leave a digital print on the back of that experiment wall. Why is that? Because electrons make a conscious decision to collapse into digital matter based on conscious observation since the beginning of what we call time in this universe. The thought went out, conscious thought from the universal consciousness, God, whatever you want to call it. That thought then, if you really research string theory, began to vibrate these microscopic subatomic strings, which began to vibrate cymatic frequencies that emanated this universe into existence. The universe exists, according to quantum physics, as waves of potential until consciousness interacts with those waves and collapses it into what we call solid matter. We know that solid matter is actually an illusion. Distance is an illusion. Locality is also an illusion. And Thoth said, and I questioned the master, saying, what was this thought? Was it eternal? And answered me the dweller, saying, in the beginning, there was eternal thought. And for thought to be eternal, time must exist. So they had to inject time into a scenario in order to emphasize the fact that the thought was eternal. So into all-pervading thought grew the law of time. Time, which exists through all space, floating in a smooth rhythmic movement that is eternally in a state of fixation. Time changes not, but all things change in time. This is written 36,000 years ago. For time is the force that holds events separate, each in its own proper place. Time is not in motion, but ye move through time as your consciousness moves from one event to another. See, you don't actually physically move. You don't go anywhere. Quantum physics proves locality, and distance is actually an illusion. What is moving through this ether? It is your mind that's moving. And guess what? There's only one mind. Your meat suit that you call your body, it exists as both a wave of light and solid matter. We are truly beings of light because all that exists in the third dimension is made of light. Light waves that we can't physically see with our human eyes because our human eyes can only see less than 1% of the light spectrum. But yet, physics.org put out an incredible article just a few years ago showing how matter converts from waves of potential into solid matter based on conscious observation. They actually caught a particle in transition, moving from a wave into solidity, giving us that illusion that gives us this perspective of a third dimensional realm that we inhabit. It's kind of hard to wrap your mind around the fact that the only thing that exists here is consciousness. But as you heard me say before, if you look at the as above, so below from the Hermetic principles, you'll realize what I'm telling you is a fact. If you see your mind in your head, your brain inside of your skull, so to speak, and then magnify that from the micro to the macro, and then take it on as a universal consciousness. What's going on? What is the universe on a massive scale doing, right? If you look at your brain inside of your skull, locked in complete darkness, it doesn't know what's going on outside of itself. It has no clue. But your brain has what? Friends, hearing, sight, smelling, seeing, taste, touch, and everything else, all your senses. So your brain says to the sensory perception friends, hey guys, go out there and collect some data. Let me know what's going on. So the friends go out. They themselves don't know what they're collecting. Eyes go out and pick up photons, right? The fingers go out and touch things. The tongue tastes things. The nose smells things. The ears are hearing. They don't know what they're collecting. They're collecting data, raw data that they themselves cannot decipher. They transmit that information or that data to the brain, and then the brain sorts it all out and says, oh, this is what's going on out there. And then you navigate through this holographic matrix based on a holographic projection from your consciousness. The only thing that's moving here is your mind, not you. That's it. And there's only one. The universe has separated itself into Googles and Googles of entities to give the illusion of separation so that they can experience the life subjectively as individual entities or people, even a blade of grass, a rock, even the atoms that make up this book, this microphone. Everything is conscious. Because why? All atoms are conscious because the electrons that orbit the atoms are conscious because they can make conscious decisions based on observation and conscious thought. Time is not in motion, but ye move through time as your consciousness moves from one event to another. I, by time, yet exist. All in all, an eternal one existence. Eternal one, O-N-E, caps. They put all caps. O-N-E, we are all one. Know ye that even in the time ye are separate, ye are still one in all times existent. What Thoth is saying here that even though we look to be separate individuals and our minds seem to be separate minds, completely detached from one another, he's saying, no, ye are still all one with a capital O-N-E in all times existent. A reference here from In Search of Miraculous by PhD Opensky. George Gurdjieff claimed man lives in life in sleep, and in sleep he dies. In other words, he was saying that people cannot perceive reality in their current states because they do not possess a unified consciousness, but rather live in a state of hypnotic waking sleep. Gurdjieff claims was that humans live in a waking dream and only a dream that they are awake. This state of waking sleep is also called relative consciousness. It is the level of consciousness that ordinary humans are born into. They live their lives and then die in, never waking into one or more objective states of full awareness. because most humans are walking around in a state of waking sleep. They are never able to know who they truly are, and therefore they remain unaware of their true motivations and the causal forces which motivate them in their daily choices and activities. In conclusion, when humans cannot determine their true motivations and remain unaware, they lie to themselves, and thus their entire lives are lies. Reference is In Search of Miraculous by PhD Opensky. That's powerful. That is powerful. And guess what? I agree with him 1000%. There's people walking around out here that are soulless avatars simply operating on matrix programming. They're living, but they're not alive. And they're all around us. They're all over the place. People that have never woken up to who they truly actually are. They simply are operating on the code that they've been programmed and given since they were born, since they were even in the womb and at gestation. The same code, just running on programming, never exceeding the programming, never reprogramming the programming, never editing it, never hacking themselves, just running on the pure code and living a complete lie, believing that they're alive, but they're not. And Thoth said, now I'll go back to Thoth again. Cease then the voice of the dweller. He said, I'm done talking now. I gave you the knowledge. Now you got to go, you got to get out of here and act on it. And departed I to ponder on time. This guy said, you know what? As smart as I am, what my dad just told me, I need to go sit down and meditate on this. He said, departed I to ponder on time. I got to sit down. I got to digest this. Too many times we get the information, like the information I'm giving to you tonight, information from a workshop, information from an Instagram post or a video short or a reel or a TikTok or whatever. And then we just keep on scrolling. We keep on moving on, right? Oh, we got it. Oh, that was pretty deep. Let me keep on going. Let me just look for the next roll. Let me look for the next reel or TikTok or the next video clip. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Sit down and meditate on it for a second. Let the knowledge seep in. Stay in the present moment. Let your mind start to vibrate and get on the frequency of understanding. Let your mind begin to ask more questions so you can seek more answers. Don't just brush over deep knowledge as if it's like, nothing. Let it seep in for a second. And Thoth said, cease then the voice of the dweller, and departed I to ponder on time. For knew I that in these words lay wisdom and a way to explore the mysteries of time. Oft did I ponder the words of the dweller. This guy says, man, I can't get this off this stuff is embedded in my brain. I can't get it off I can't stop thinking about it now. It's deep. Then sought I to solve the mystery of time. So now he says, you know what? I got to take action. I got to figure this out. Found I that time moves through strange angles. Time moves in angles. Yet only by curves could I hope to attain the key that would give me access to the time space. Wow. Only by curves. In other words, the time is moving in angles, but to catch up to these angles to access the information, he had to move in curves. We're talking about the Fibonacci spiral now. We're talking about sacred geometry, right? This is what we're getting into now. We're talking about pi and phi. Now we're getting into mathematics, the golden rectangle, the golden section. Yet only by curves could I hope to attain the key that would give me access to the time space. Found I that only by moving upward and yet again moving rightward could I be free from the time of the movement. He's talking about shifting into another dimension in a 90-degree angle. How would he know this 36,000 years ago that modern day theoretical physicists hypothesize that we are living in a universe that has 11 dimensions and they're on top of each other, compactified. And yes, compactified is a real word. Look it up. I remember the last time I used that word, people were laughing in the comments. He made up a word. No, I didn't make up a word. That's what they teach you at the university. And to get access to these higher dimensions, they're in 90-degree angles right above each other, stacked and compactified. How would he know this 36,000 years ago? Found I that by moving upward and yet again moving rightward, I could be free from the time of the movement. Forth I came from out of my body, moved in the movements that changed me in time. Strange were the sights I saw in my journeys, many of the mysteries that opened to view. I saw man's beginning, learned from the past that nothing is new. This man literally went through time in angles, went through dimensions. He went back in time. He saw the beginning of man and realized, wow, there was nothing new under the sun. Nothing at all. It says, I saw man's beginning and learned from the past that nothing is new. Seek ye, O man, to learn the pathway that leads through the spaces that are formed forth in time. Forget not, O man, with all thy seeking, that light is the goal ye shall seek to attain. Your goal is to seek light. Your goal is to seek the light, not the dark. Search ye for the light on thy pathway, and ever for thee the goal shall endure. If you continue to seek light, your goal, your mission, your ascension will continue to endure. Let not shine the heart ever to darkness. Light let shine soul be a sun on the way. Know ye that eternal brightness, yea, shall ever find thy soul hid in light, never fettered by bondage or darkness, ever it shines forth a sun of the light. He's saying, stay away from the darkness. Stay away from the people that are entertaining dark ideas, dark concepts. Stay away from thoughts that entertain darkness. If those things come around you, escape them immediately. Keep your mind focused on positivity, enlightenment, wisdom, understanding, love. Seeking the light. That's what seeking the light means. I know through hidden in darkness, your soul, a spark of the true flame exists. Be ye one with the greatest of all lights. That's one with the universal source. Find the source, the end of thy goal. Light is life, for without the great light, nothing can ever exist. That's powerful. Understanding that light always rules over darkness. Even though we have yin and yang, we have good and bad, we have darkness and light in the universe, we know that light is more powerful than darkness. And how do we know that? Well, I'm sitting in a well-lit room, and there's no way that I can inject any little bit of darkness into this room that would make this room dark. I can't inject darkness here to make the room dark. But if I turn all these lights off and just simply do something like turn on my camera flashlight, just that little flashlight from my camera will make the darkness flee. It will run from that little tiny light coming out of my phone. But I can't inject. Look, my screen is dark right now. I can't inject darkness into this room from a dark screen, but if I turn on my flashlight and turn these lights off, guess what happens? The darkness runs away from the light. Know ye that in all form matter, the heart of light always exists. Always. Everything in this matrix is made of light. If you take two atoms and smash them together at CERN, at the LHC, the Large Hadron Collider in Switzerland, you'll find that what are these particles made of? The essence of them is made of light, waves of light. Even though bound in darkness, inherent light always exists. Once I stood in the halls of Amenti and heard the voice of the lords of Amenti, saying in tones that rang through the silence, words of power, mighty and potent, chanted they the song of the cycles, the words that opened the path to the beyond. I saw the great path opened and looked for the instant into the beyond. So I the movement of the cycles. Vast was the thought of the source could convey. Knew I even infinity is moving on some unthinkable end. Even infinity is moving according to a specific law. So I that the cosmos is order and part of a movement that extends into all space. A party of an order of orders, constantly moving in harmony of space. This is powerful stuff. Even the cosmos obeys these laws. There's an order to everything. Second law of thermodynamics, we know that everything moves through entropy, moves from an ordered state to a disordered state, and then recongeals and comes back to an ordered state again as a different form. Energy can't be destroyed, it can only be transformed. So I, the wheeling of cycles, like vast circles across the sky, knew I then that has being is growing, and meet to another being is far off grouping of space and time. Knew I that in the words are power to open the planes that are hidden from man. I, that even words lie hidden in the key that will open above and below. He's talking about cymatic frequencies that have the capability of transcending dimensions. You can transcend dimensions through cymatic frequencies. You can transcend space and time through frequencies. Everything is all about the frequency of the words. Words, people conceive words as I'm speaking English, or I'm speaking Spanish, or I'm speaking Russian, or whatever it is. No, what you're actually doing is you are emanating a cymatic vibration from your vocal box that rides on atmospheric gases until it reaches somebody's cochlea inside their ear, and then the brain deciphers it and gets the signal as to what it believes you are trying to convey, the message you're trying to convey. That's how it works. But on a universal scale, these cymatic frequencies and vibrations on a subatomic level literally are creating reality as we know it. Hark ye now, man. This word I leave with thee. Use it, and ye shall find power in its sound. Say ye the word, Zin Uru, and power ye shall find. See, when you say this word, Zin Uru, Zin, Z-I-N, Uru, U-R-U, it's a cymatic frequency. It emanates a particular frequency into space-time that has power. Every time you speak, you're casting a spell. Every word, that's why they call it spelling. Every word you say is about casting spells. You're trying to create a reality that's good for you, a reality that you want. You want things to turn out to benefit you in a specific way every time you speak. Saying this word, Zin Uru, has that effect over space-time when you back up with conscious thought behind saying this, making the statement. You must understand that man is of light and light is of man. Remember, I told you earlier that scientists discovered that a human being is both a wave of potentials, waves of what? Light, and also solid matter. So we are all light beings, but also our consciousness is also light. Listen, yo, man, and hear a mystery, stranger than all that lies neath the sun. Know ye, yo, man, that all space is filled with worlds within worlds. One within each other, yet separate by law. We're talking about dimensions. Each dimension, we know now that there are 11 dimensions that make up our universe. If there were more than 11 or less than 11, the universe would collapse. It wouldn't become stable. So in order to have this universe with these laws of physics stable, we need 11 dimensions. That the human brain connects to 11 dimensions. That was done at the Brain Institute. They discovered this. So we are multidimensional beings having a three-dimensional experience. But our connection is multidimensional, and we are connected to these higher dimensions. Once in search for deep buried wisdom, I open the door that bars them from man. Called I from the other planes of being. Other planes, he's talking about other dimensions. One who was furrier than the daughters of men. I called her from out of the spaces. We're talking about dimensions. To shine as a light to the world of men. Use I the drum of the serpent. We're talking about knowledge and wisdom and a vibration. Wore I the robe of the purple and gold, placed on my head, I, the crown of silver, around me the circle of cinnabar shone. Raised I my arms and cried the invocation that opens a path to the plains beyond. This man is opening dimensions through cymatics coming out of his own voice. He's not using any type of technology. He's not using a Large Hadron Collider at CERN like in Switzerland. This guy is doing this based on conscious, adept, initiate wisdom and knowledge, utilizing his own vocal box to create cymatic frequencies that hack space-time itself. Cried I to the lords of the signs in their houses, lords of the two horizons, watchers of the treble gates. Stand ye one at the right and one at the left, as the star rises to its throne and rules over his sign. I'm talking about star alignments now, and constellations moving in correlation to the precession of the equinoxes. I, thou prince of Arulu, open the gates of the dim, hidden land, and release whom ye have imprisoned. Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye, dark lords of shining ones, and by their secret names, names which I know and can pronounce, hear ye and obey my will. Now he's commanding the darkness. Lit I then the flame of my circle, and called her in the space plains beyond. Daughter of light, return from Arulu. 7 times and 7 times have I passed through the fire, and found I have not eaten, water I have not drunk. I call thee from Arulu, from the realms of Urkeshko. I summon thee, Lady of Night. This is powerful stuff. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine 36,000 years ago, according to mainstream, we were like hunter-gatherers just trying to find scraps on the ground and scavenging to eat and trying to, group hunt mammoths and all this kind of crazy stuff and living out of caves and everything else. And at the same time that's all supposed to be going on, this is being written. This is being written. All right? So let me ask you this question based on bare bones logic. If you're living in a civilization where your main goal of the day is to survive and just find some type of food and shelter, do you have time to write these kind of works of art? Do you have time to understand quantum physics, quantum mechanics, theoretical physics, philosophy, frequencies and vibrations? Do you have time for that? So something ain't adding up. Either some people came here with some real knowledge, or they don't want us to know that these people came here with the real knowledge because they don't teach you this in school. Fear is the Lord of the dark Arulu. Fear. Fear is the Lord of the dark Arulu. To he who never faced dark fear, know that fear has existence created by those who are bound by their fears. Shake off thy bondage, O children, and walk in the light of the glorious day. Fear, what does fear mean? What is fear an acronym of? False evidence appearing real. Fear is a choice. What do they pump on the news 24/7 on the mainstream news? They pump fear. What do they pump nonstop? Is fear, fear, fear. Why do they do that? Because fear puts you in a malleable state of mind so they can control you. They are master puppeteers. What does he say about this? Fear is the Lord of Arulu, of the dark Arulu. What he's saying is, if you are watching those news clips and you're walking and living in fear, like the people that are still walking around wearing masks and stuff like that, they're so afraid, those masks ain't stopping anything. Are you kidding me? Microscopic viruses flow through the mask like it doesn't even exist. It has no effect on a microscopic. None. It's like throwing a basketball into the ocean. If anything, it's spreading more germs. because you keep taking it off and putting it in your pocket and putting it in your purse and touching everything with it, right? But fear becomes your Lord. That means fear becomes your God. And you worship fear like you worship your God. But you're not aware that you're doing that until I just told you. When you're living in a state of fear, which is a low frequency, it becomes your Lord. Never turn thy thoughts into darkness, and surely ye shall be one with the light. Man is only what he believeth. Man is only what he believeth. A brother of darkness or a child of light. Which one are you? Are you darkness or are you light? If you believe you're light, then act like it. Drop the fear. Fear is a choice. False evidence appearing real. A brother of darkness or a child of light. Come through into the light, my children. Walk in the pathway that leads to the sun. The S-U-N, the sun. What did Thoth call himself? A son of Atlantis, spelled S-U-N. He also called himself a son of man, an S-U-N of man. In the Bible, it's mistranslated as S-O-N by accident on purpose. When Jesus calls himself the Son of Man, he's calling himself the Son, S-U-N, of man, just like Thoth is. Why would he do that? Because he learned this from the Egyptian mysteries, because he studied from Thoth directly when he went to live in Egypt. That's why he calls himself the Son of Man in the Bible. Nobody ever asked, why does he call himself the Son of Man? He's supposed to be the Son of God. No, he's a son of man, S-U-N. A light. He's a beacon, right? He's a lighthouse in the darkness. Walk in the path that leads to the sun. Hark ye now, and list to the wisdom. Use thou the word I have given unto thee. Use it, and surely thou shalt find power and wisdom. Zen Uru. And light to walk in the way. Seek thee and find the key I have given, and ever shalt thou be a child of the light. Ooh, wow. That's a powerful chapter right there that we just went through. And I'm going to be doing the entire book on Forbidden Knowledge TV. It's going to be amazing. That was The Key of Time, Emerald Tablet number 10 from my book, Compendium of the Emerald Tablets. Make sure you get it on Amazon.com. If you don't have it yet, it's still number one. It's a number one bestseller in 5 countries. And it's pretty much printed and sold in every single country right now, right? And I'm not saying that to brag. What I'm saying is there's something about that information that is lighting up the world. And so it's pretty important. The Emerald Tablets is really some deep, deep, deep wisdom and knowledge. You can't read them just once. You've got to read them dozens and dozens of times. And the more you read them, the more wisdom and knowledge you gain. The more information comes into your head, all right? The more insight you get, the more perspective you get, all right? And so it's a powerful, powerful thing. And so from time to time, I like to share that.